Welcome back to our daily show. It's 10:50 on the nose, and really glad to have our friends at OSF Healthcare back in the studio. Sister Beata Ziegler. Oh, did I do this right this time? Almost? Oh, I'm getting close, because remember last time it was like a 5-minute thing, and it was just, I was getting worse after every attempt. And Sister Anastasia, Maher joins us now, and how are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. And, always a great time to talk about, the mission of what you all do with over at OSF Healthcare. And on April the 1st is when you guys came into town in 1925. That would make it 100 years.
You are correct.
Oh, wow. How was that mission enacted at first in 1925? What led to that, and how was the mission spread at that time?
Well, our sisters had come to the United States and worked in St. Louis with a boys' home, but they were actually nurses, and that was their dream to to have a hospital over here in the United States. And so they took what they could get, the first in St. Louis, and then they had a lot of people looking for them, and someone, I believe it was a German social worker over here, knew of the St. Anthony's Infirmary, or the Nazareth home becoming available. So they were able to purchase the Nazareth home with a lot of help from very generous donors.
Wow.
And then they renamed it almost immediately St. Anthony's Infirmary. And then eventually, in the 1950s, they were able to turn it over to a real hospital. So,
why was St. Anthony's chosen? The name St. Anthony's, do we know that?
St. Anthony's is a very popular Franciscan saint. And we have institutions in Germany named after St. Anthony. So.
Well, and I find that so fascinating,
yeah.
And honestly, you all have always been a part of our lives. I was, and this is what I find so cool about this interview, because I was a St. Mary's kid, and, everything else. And my grandma worked at St. Anthony's for a long time in the ER and ICU as a nurse. And, it's just to see the impact that you all have made, not just in the hospital setting, but also throughout the region with the young lives that you're touching in some of these private schools and education. It's just an amazing thing.
Well, thank you.
And, with that being said, how do you all spread your message today? What's that kind of look like for both of you and the group as a whole?
Well, we have through OSF and even before then with just our sisters at St. Anthony's, having a program in which we can transmit what is just a daily part of our lives as sisters to our mission partners. Those who share in our work, that's what we call them, mission partners. We have different programs. We do annual education and training and in a specific part of how do you live this mission.
Yeah.
So for this year, our mission integration, we call it theme, is service. Mm-hmm. Living our mission every day, this call to service, and what that looks like, and how we can actually touch the hearts of those that come to us for care with this kind of service like Jesus does.
Well, and this is just really just so incredible. And honestly, it's just great to hear a little bit more insights about kind of what led up to just you guys being such an institution really in the Riverbend region. And I wanted to go real quick to your website just because I think it's such a beautiful website, the Sisters of St. Francis the Martyr, St. George. And the 100th Jubilee was a couple of years ago, but I love the video on there, and just seeing some of the faces that I remember growing up was the coolest thing for me. And you guys can follow along all the time if you want to learn more too, or if you wanted to reach out and learn more about resources or ways that you can help support by going to altonfranciscans.org, and you can go to that webpage and we'll link it for you. But just saw that, and what a beautiful website too.
Yes.
Well, and going forward as well, what are the areas that you guys service right now?
The sisters work in a variety of areas. So, we think about nursing is like kind of always at the heart, because we want to be serving individuals and being able to connect and help heal them. But our sisters come from such a wide variety of backgrounds. And so it's so beautiful that in OSF Healthcare, we're able to give whatever talents we have. So we have a sister who's an actual pharmacist. So she is serving up in Rockford at the hospital there, part of OSF Healthcare. We have a sister who is a biomedical engineer, and so she serves in the innovation studios in Peoria. We have sisters, of course, in pastoral care throughout the health system, because being able to bring the spiritual message and that portion, which is so integral to what we do. We have people coming to us of all faiths, and being able just to witness to them and help them in any way we can is so important. Administration, and it just, the list is really endless.
Well, and I think that's what's so important to touch on too, because it's not just one spoke of the wheel. It's really all aspects of the life web, and that's what I find so great about what you do, because there's times when folks are, in medical treatment and they're facing some pretty tough times. And, faith is what you kind of have the most to really power through. And I've just seen, y'all in action every once in a while and seeing how you communicate. That's the invaluable, tag of what you all do, because it's that connection and bridging that gap between that person who's scared and that relationship with God to help get you through it too.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And our ability then to really share that with those that we're working with. There's so few of us compared to how big this mission and ministry is. I mean, there's over 26,000 mission partners throughout OSF Healthcare.
Whoa.
And there's about 20 some of us. So wow. Being able to transmit that and share this with our whole community, but throughout the state of Illinois is so important.
Well, and it just shows how effective it is too, because you see that time and time again when you're walking inside any OSF facility, that faith in action, and also just seeing that at work. And, over the last, 10 years, take me through some of the benefits of being a part of the ministry.
Well, it has been life-saving, really. Back in, we joined the OSF system in 2014. And before that, any small hospital was struggling. Insurances didn't want to talk to you if you didn't have a certain amount of people. Medicare didn't want to bother with you if you didn't have a lot of patients. And joining the system, it just gave us such a wide variety of talent. We were free to tap into all of the knowledge and all of the skills all throughout the system of more, banal financial considerations. When you're buying for 17 hospitals, you can get a good price. So we became part of that group purchasing. But mainly just the feeling of being in a presence of the Catholic healthcare in Illinois. It gave us a reach much farther than what we had ourselves.
It's incredible. And it seems like it's all worked out very, very well.
Yes, it has. It's very good.
Well, looking forward, and this is what I keep talking about every day about OSF on the show when I give the live reads, is the innovations that are happening here locally is just out of this world. I remember when we'd have to, drive grandma or grandpa driving an hour and a half to DePaul and dodging the 270 traffic and the maze it is. But to see all these new investments being made and to see all these new really just great tools like the wound healthcare clinic and all in the Mueller Cancer Center. I mean, there's so many good components to this that, we don't have to drive all that way and we can just go right in our own backyard. Where do you see this going forward from here?
Well, it is about keeping care close to home.
Yeah.
People deserve that as much as we can provide it. And so we have some strategic partnerships. So we have a strategic partnership with SSM SLU, particularly around cardiology. Mm-hmm. So being able to do more cardiology procedures here in Alton and provide that continuum of care for those who need really intense surgeries, then we have our partner across the river, and then you come right back, and then you get that follow-up care here in Alton. So that's a big part of our strategy moving forward. Also, just investments in upgraded equipment.
Yeah.
So OSF is we just had installed a new MRI. We can do quicker scans. We can get more people through. We also then have greater capabilities. So prostate imaging that we weren't able to do before and things like that. So that's one piece. And then we're starting our CAT scan replacement. So same thing. We will be able to do more of coronary imaging.
Yeah.
On that machine that we weren't able to do before. So just progressing into, the technologies that are out there now.
This is really cool. Do you guys have a moment to take one break with me?
Absolutely.
It is 11 o'clock, but we're going to go a little bit past the time because I was running late today. And we'll come back and we're going to talk about the Celebration Anniversary Mass, which is April the 22nd, and an open house that's coming down the pipeline in the fall. So much more to talk about. We'll stay here in the studio. You'll stay there, hopefully, on RiverBender.com and Roku TV.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh-made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. osfoncall.org/virtual visit.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back. Coming up on April the 22nd, which is in, 5 days. This is moving. Okay, we are here. We are here. The anniversary mass will be taking place then, and take me through some of the sights and sounds of that.
Well, it's going to start at 11 o'clock. So the bishop, Archbishop Bishop Proparchy, is coming for the mass, and so he'll start that at 11. We have a relatively small chapel. I mean, it's big for a hospital chapel, but it only holds about 120. So we had to kind of limit our guest list, but we will have people that used to work at OSF, current leadership, current mission partners, a bunch of sisters. So they're for the mass. And so we'll have mass, and then we'll go down and the bishop will bless the facility, and then we'll have lunch.
That's really cool. And now also there will be an open house in the fall too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have not picked the date yet, so we're hoping. Yes, it's a TBD, but hopefully in October, and then members of the community can come through, and we can really show off our.
I'm excited. I'm really excited about that. And honestly, the chapel is just beautiful. I mean, that is such a beautiful chapel. And, Sister Anastasia, I want to ask you, you've been there for a little bit of time. And I wanted to ask you just, your thoughts about seeing the evolution, of the group and of the organization, since the time you began until your time here now.
Well, it's amazing. I entered the convent in 1974, but really before then, I had never met the sisters because I was too young to go into the hospital, and they didn't really go out a lot. So as we got different girls entering with different abilities, then we started to branch out beyond the hospital, and the evolution of the healthcare. When I entered, we did not have an emergency room. We didn't have surgery. We didn't have, all of these things. And we were able through the years to build them up. You know, I was, we had our convent jubilee a couple years ago, and I was working on some things for that. And it came a point where I had a little shock because I realized I was here for half of it. Wow. And it didn't really sink in before then, you know, but just from the technology that we didn't have to the technology that we have now and our outreach, our sisters being out in the schools, being out in other areas of work. You know, we have a sister now, Sister Marie Therese that you mentioned. She teaches at Lewis and Clark, and that we have so many tendrils out now into the community that we didn't have before.
Well, and it's impacted generations here locally, and I think that's what's so great too, is to see that impact time and time again. And before I let you go, it is the holiest week, I think, that there is. And it would be, I think, more apropos to just what your message is for the region on Easter weekend as we head into Sunday, and what we should be, you know, kind of acknowledging this weekend.
Well, this is the Jubilee year of hope. So our Jubilee corresponds with hope. And I think that when we look at Jesus' sacrifice and our participation in it, it is hope for the world. Yeah. Our world is in desperate need of goodness and of really being able to understand their dignity and worth. And that is something through our healthcare apostolate, I believe we can really give. But I think across all works and all people, that message of hope, that there is something greater than even just this world, and that we are called to.
You know, we always say what happened to Jesus will happen to his disciples. If we're faithful, he suffered, but he also rose.
Yeah.
And if we keep fixed on that, we should not lose hope, because we always know that what happened to him will happen to us if we're faithful to him.
That is incredible, honestly. Thank you guys so much for sharing that, and thank you so much for stopping by. And we really hope that you guys were able to stop by the open house in the fall. We'll save the date, and we'll make sure we add that on to the information once we get that date picked out, and we'll link everything in a write-up on RiverBender.com. I am out of time today, but I will see you on Saturday. I'm not going to be doing a live show tomorrow. Saturday we have an event. We'll be out there in Village, so go out and have some fun. But most importantly, have fun with your family this weekend. And, you know, as I always tell you each and every day, try your best to stay out of jail.